Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy JC, and what I've got for you guys today is a 7.2.5 Restoration Druid guide. And I know 7.3 is coming out here soon, but I figured I made a video last week about my Affliction Warlock. This week I want to make one about my Druid. Next week maybe I'll do my Shaman. I don't know. But this week we're doing my Druid, and I've really been having a lot of fun healing on my Druid. I went through a phase there to where I didn't heal on him for, oh man, probably like 2 months, because I just didn't like the changes that were made to the class, and I finally decided to give it another try, just change my healing a little bit, and I'm actually generally really enjoying my Druid with the way he is. So I want to share my talents, my stat setup, and share that with you, and hopefully it will make you guys become a better Druid healer or give you some insight on something you didn't know. So jumping into the talents, little disclaimer, I'm kind of hoping that you guys have some sort of idea of what a Druid is. I really don't want to get too in-depth into the talents because I could sit here and talk for hours, but we're just going to kind of go over them quickly. Of course, 15 tier, we're choosing Abundance. Cenarian Ward's a really good talent, but it's mainly if you're like a dedicated tank healer, which in Legion we are definitely not tank healers. We get out healed just pathetically. We are raid healers. So, in my opinion, Cenarian Ward just isn't that great of a talent. I mean, for Mythic Pluses, it's nice, but excuse me, it's a 30-second cooldown. The heal's only 8 seconds. To me, Abundance just seems like a better choice. I mean, it's a buff that you always have versus a 30-second cooldown for 8 seconds. I mean, that's 22-second downtime. This is always up. So this is just the go-to. Prosperity is not recommended. It's very situational. I mean, you run Prosperity if you're running Soul of the Forest, and if you have the legendary for it. If not, like I said, it's not recommended. I wouldn't recommend it. Moving on to tier 30 or level 30 talents, Displacer Beast. That's kind of a no-brainer. Renewal, if you need to like, oh shit, and heal yourself, you should carry potions for that regardless. But Renewal is great. Displacer Beast is by far, it just seems way more, it's a smarter, I don't know, it's just a smarter choice. You pop and you haul ass, and you gone with the win. 45 talents, I choose Guardian Affinity for the damage reduction. I have Ikurath Creative World, so it's 6% plus 75%. It's probably like 10.5% damage reduction. Super handy. Balance Affinity would be nice to increase myself by almost 10 yards, but I move around a lot anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And then Feral Affinity to have your movement speed. That's great and everything, but you can just pop into cat form and you're moving 30% faster anyway, so really what's the point? That's just my opinion. Moving on to the 60 talents. So I use Typhoon just to blast shit away from me if I desperately need to. Whenever I'm running my Safus, because I have my Safus down here, just for the haste buff, I'll run Mass Entanglement, but I generally don't run Safus, so I just keep it on Typhoon. 75 talents, definitely going to use not Soul of the Forest, God no, Cultivation. If you heal a target below 60% health, it just puts another HoT on top of them, just further increasing our mastery. Soul of the Forest, like I said, it's only really good if you're using Prosperity, and it's just not a recommended setup. Incarnation Tree of Life, I feel, is a PvP talent, so I've never used it. I've used it for PvP healing, that's about it. I feel that this is a 3-minute cooldown, so you're only getting, you have a 2.5 minute downtime there, as to where Cultivation, it's kind of like it just kind of saves you. Cultivation is definitely the way to go. Moving on to our 90 talents, Spring Blossoms. I just feel that I don't know, it takes like 5% mana to cast this thing, and a lot of the times you'll get with a group that you'll throw it down, and then especially in a Mythic Plus, there's always something on the ground, or you've got Quaking. It seems like nobody could ever stay inside of it. So to me, it's not worth it. Inner Peace, definitely not worth it. Going from a 3-minute to a 2-minute, I don't know. I just don't feel that it's, that saving a minute to me is not worth it. I don't use Tranquility much anyways. It's only a 647k heal over 6.3 seconds. I would rather Wild Growth and use my artifact ability, to be honest with you, and that's only a 1.5-minute cooldown. So I don't know. To me, inner peace is just not worth it. Germination is definitely the way to go. I mean, that just gives you an extra HoT to throw on yourself. It furthers your mastery. It gives you abundance stacks. It's just, to me, by far the way to go. And then your last talents here, Moment of Clarity. That's absolute garbage. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. Stonebark would be if you were like dedicated onto a tank healing with Cenarian Ward, which I said in the beginning of this video, we're not great tank healers. We get out healed like it's nobody's business. So Stonebark to me is just not even worth it. And then, Flourish is the way to go. I mean, you can HoT everybody up. You know there's about to be some damage. You got Moron standing in crap. You HoT everybody up. You throw a Wild Growth. You hit Flourish, and then you hit your artifact ability. And now you're just like straight up banging crap for 12 seconds at 100% increased, tick speed. To me, that's just the way to go. So, moving on to my stat breakdown, if you go to Icy Veins, they're going to tell you to stack Mastery and Haste. And that's kind of what I've tried to do here. Haste is definitely my number one. Crit is number 3 at this point. And the reason why my crit is lower, I mean, personally, I feel 22.5% is kind of high. Normally, I run around 18%. But, with Abundance, you don't need the critical strike. Because every time I put an abundance stack, it increases my critical strike chance of my regrowth by 10% and then reduces the cast time of my healing touch by 10%. So not only does it make your healing touches super fast, which is only like a 2% heal, once you throw 10 stacks of abundance, it's an instant cast heal for 2% of your mana. It's cheaper than a regrowth, and it heals for more. So I mean, it's a no-brainer. And then once you throw these on, your regrowth is damn near, it's not 100%, but it's damn near, you're gonna crit, and then you get your living seeds. That's just the way to go. We don't get living seeds off of hot crits. So this is the way to go. I mean, I've crit like 6-7 casts in a row there. It already gets a 40% extra chance to crit. So we're already at 62% chance to crit with it. You add 4 stacks of abundance, you're guaranteed to crit. And of course, if you're running mythic pluses or raids, you're generally keeping between 5 to 6 HoTs on everybody regardless. So I mean, why not? Abundance that's just the way to go. So that negates critical strike a little bit. You don't need a shit ton of critical strike. Mastery is good. I feel. I mean, 15% increased healing for each of your HOTs on them. So the tank is always getting, because you're always going to keep your life bloom on the tank. That right there is 45% extra heals on the tank. Once you throw a regrowth, now you have your regrowth HoT on them. So now you're at 45 plus, that's 60% increased heals. I mean, right there. And if you're healing a bear tank, their mastery is increased heals. I mean, you're healing like a madman, like an absolute madman. And I'm running the Dark Titan's Advice, which allows my life bloom to proc its final heal while it's still healing. So I run a shit ton of haste. That way I can hopefully get those extra procs. I mean, I just got a proc right there, healed for 855k. That thing will crit for 2 million. I mean, it's super awesome. Another 855k. Once I throw 2 HoTs on myself and I get a proc, 959k. I mean, so it's freaking amazing. Now, what I'm going to get into with you guys is I definitely feel that UI and weak auras make the world of a difference. So, of course, as you guys can see, I'm clicking on this little box here. This is Voodoo. Basically, it's like a heal bot, but it's Voodoo. It's raid frames. You don't necessarily have to to use this for healing. Of course, that's what it's meant for, but it's also just raid frames. You can come in here, you can change your panel sizes. Let's see here, panels sizing. So you can change your panel sizes. As you can see, there's different groups where they're at. So you can use it as just regular raid frames if you don't like Blizzard's default. But I use LVUI. We'll go over that in a second. But I have all of my heals set as key bindings, and it's all by my mouse. So I can just sit here, I could be jumping around, I could be throwing casts, everything's good. I could stop for a second, throw a wild growth, keep going. It's just super handy to have this. I mean, I've seen some healers, they'll run around and they keybind and they're clicking on frames and healing, but to me, I don't know, that's just, it's easier. So why not do this? It's far easier. So my UI looks a hell of a lot different than Blizzard's normal UI, and that's because I use Elv UI. Super handy, super easily customizable user interface. Super handy. So if we go into my Elv UI, completely changes your action bars. I mean, changes everything. You can do whatever you want. You can put your mini map right here in the middle of the screen if you wanted to. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that, but you can. And that's what I really like about Elv UI. Everything is so nice, so clean. I've got my raid frames right here. In fact, I'll even go to my let's see here. We'll go to my unit frames. We'll go to my raid 40 frames, and then we'll display the frames. So that's what they look like. I mean, they're very small. They're just very out of the way. And then I have all of my frames right here to heal. So it's like, honestly, I don't even need these. I just like to keep them up there. I don't know. I keep it there because that's on my other classes. I have, you know, my voodoo disabled. I only have this enabled on my healing classes. So it's super handy. And then, you know, we can go to my party frames. Let's see here, party frames. Where they at? Right here, party frames. That's what my party frames look like. Really big debuffs. Super handy. So I definitely recommend getting Elv UI. I can leave it in the description box. I will leave, you know, the download link. That way you guys can actually use this profile. It's super handy. It's super set up for healing. As you guys can see, this is my life. This is my health bar right here. That's my health bar. That's my mana bar. I've got my stance bar, of course, and then this is, you know, my target, and then my targets of target, and that's all you really need. Whenever we engage a boss, I'll have a boss frame that sits right about here. It's just super handy. And then the bread and butter is for sure weak auras. So you guys can see these are my weak auras. Actually, I'm missing one. There it is. So these are my weak auras. This tracks my abundance stacks. Of course, this will track bloodlust. This is for quaking weeks. Just lets me know, hey, stop casting because you're about to get blown up. This one is my fixate. These are the same on my warlock. This is, if anything's targeted to me, it'll flash and say, hey, dumbass, pay attention to your screen because something's coming after you. And then this one here will just track innervate. If I have innervate on myself, if somebody else innervates me, it lets me know, hey man, you got 6 seconds to just kick out some heals, just spam some HoTs, do something. And then this little bar right here, this will actually track my mana. This is a mana bar, but it'll track my life bloom. It tracks every buff that I possibly have. I've got my battle res, I've got my my incarnation, I've got swiftmans, I've got Cenarian wards. This is the cooldown for innervate, my decurse, my HoTs, of course. This will light up, and this will light up whenever I get the, I forget what buff it's called, but I know whenever you cast wild growth, you have a chance to, let me see, I can't get it to proc, it's a 10-second cooldown. Whenever you cast wild growth, you have a chance to make a rejuvenation go to another target or regrowth to another target. So of course when I get that, I always just use the free rejuvenation. So these will light up for me. I've got my essence, you know, my artifact weapon. I've got my flourish, self heal. This right here is mass entanglement. If you're not spec'd into that, whatever you're spec'd into will show up. So whether it be mass entanglement, typhoon, or mighty bash, it shows right here. This is a nice little cooldown, you know, just to kind of suck mobs away. If the tank needs to, you know, drop necrotic stacks, that's super handy. So these are my weak auras. I can leave a link in the description to a paste bin. That way you guys can actually get these. It's a string of a bunch of different weak auras all thrown together. Kind of like I have one for my warlock. I have the same thing for my druid. I will leave that in the description if you guys want. Just let me know. Or, you know, just take what I've got, get an idea, and make your own. I strongly recommend to everybody, weak auras is definitely the way to go, and having a clean UI. Blizzard's UI is just so clunky. You can't move anything. It sucks. You know, I got my objectives over here, way out of the way. I've got this bar with just miscellaneous shit on it. It goes away. This bar's got miscellaneous shit on it. It goes away. So super handy. The next add-on that I use is is DBM. I prefer Deadly Boss mods over Big Wigs / Little Wigs. I just think DBM is, to me, I just like it more. I use Skada. I prefer that over Recount. And then I've used this little add-on here, which is Total AP Counter, I believe it's called, which all it does really is just, it will track how much AP I have in my bags. It will let me click this button right here. Like, I can just click this. Holy hell, that thunder is shaking my house. I can click this little button here. I don't want to do that though. And it'll tell me how much AP I have towards my next rank. So being that these are lit up and they're flashing, that lets me know that if I use all of this AP in balance, I'll get another trait. Same thing with Resto. If I go into bear form, it's 98% towards my next trait. So it's super handy. That way you don't have to like go into that spec and say, hey man, I wonder how much more AP I need. You know, how close am I? This just tracks all 4 specs, and it's just super handy. So I use that. It's kind of like a little miscellaneous thing. And then I use Bagnon instead of the bag add-on that LVUI uses. I like being able to click on this and see how much gold I have across the whole realm or across all of my characters. And then also I use my enemy nameplates. I use KUI nameplates instead of LVUI's nameplates. I just think they're far more customizable. I think they're far more, I don't know, I just think they're cleaner. LVUIs are just so much bigger and crap. This is just so much cleaner. So I'll give you guys a little example. When I go into combat, you'll see my little weak aura pops up. Now whenever I hit this, let me just keep myself in combat here. Once this counts down, it's going to light up at 4 seconds. And the reason why, look, I just got 2 procs in a row off of my life bloom. So it lights up. The reason why it does that is so if you recast it with less than 4 seconds, you will get a free bloom and it'll redo it. That way you never lose a tick on your life bloom. So remember that. Whenever you're life blooming, always try and cast it when there's 4 seconds or less remaining. That way you get the tick and you don't lose a tick. Because life blooms are super, super handy, especially if you're running the Dark Titans advice. So I think that pretty much covers everything. I went over my add-ons. I went over my UI. I went over Voodoo, which I strongly recommend you getting Voodoo or Click. Click is another one that allows you to keybind clicks to frames. It's just so much smarter. But I went over the talents that I'm set up with. I went over my gear. I'm a 914 and I can heal plus 15s with no problem running this setup here. If you guys want some gameplay of that, I can get some gameplay of that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video, and it's just not the ramblings of a madman. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, if you guys want my LVUI profile, just leave a comment and I will put it in the description, or I will send you a Mediafire link so you can download it and just copy this. That way you guys can get this profile here. Or if you just want to look at the profile that I have and just kind of make something similar, it's super, super handy. I like not having a frame for me. I mean, this is my frame. It's really handy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and then the last add-on I use is O item level. So what O item level does is if you get into a group, like if you look for mythic finders, it'll say that the person's a 918, and then they get in the group and you're like, what the hell, bro, you're only pulling like 500k DPS. This will actually tell you the item level that is equipped. It will not tell you your overall. This tells equipped item levels. It'll tell it to the whole group. You can pull this up. It'll show everybody low level enchants right now. So finger 1 and finger 2 and back are low level enchants, and that's because they're the 150 enchants, not the 200s. We can click this right here and show that. So it's pretty cool. It's good to have, especially if you're raiding with a guild, or if someone's talking trash, you can just click and be like, yeah, sucker, you ain't 918, you're 905 equipped. So it's just a handy little add-on that I use. And then I think that's pretty much what the hell am I looking for? And then I use a friends list add-on that just gives me better information about who's online. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This video is already long. I'm sorry. I wanted to do it fast, but like I said, I could sit here and ramble for hours, and I know you don't want to hear that. So hopefully y'all enjoyed. If you did, click the thumbs up button, subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see my my restoration shaman guide. He's only like a 905, but he's pretty ballin'. And then my demon hunter. I mean, he's pretty badass for his level. But let me know. I play a lot of different characters. Just leave a comment. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.